Hello everyone, and welcome. Now, I know you're absolutely dying to visit Ireland, that magical land of Guinness, greenery, and, well, more Guinness. But before you book those flights, hold your horses. You need to watch this video. I'm going to let you in on a few little secrets, 10 things not to do in Ireland if you want to really experience the magic. Let's be honest, you don't want to be that tourist, right? The one who sticks out like a sore thumb, wandering around Temple Bar in a luminous green tracksuit? No, you want to blend in, soak up the crack, and maybe even convince the locals you're one of them. Well, maybe not quite. And listen, any time is a good time to visit Ireland, but if you're looking for that sweet spot, I'd say aim for spring or autumn. You'll miss the summer crowds and the weather. Well, let's just say you'll experience all 4 seasons in one day, so pack accordingly. Right, let's dive into it. First up, whatever you do, don't just stick to those big, flashy pubs in Temple Bar. They're great for a bit of atmosphere, but for a real taste of Ireland, you need to venture off the beaten track. Find yourself a cozy little local pub, tucked away down a side street. Don't be intimidated. Walk in, take a deep breath, and you'll be enveloped in the aroma of hops, history, and maybe a little bit of something else that's been on draft for a good few years. This is where the magic happens, my friends. You'll find characters you won't believe, stories that will have you roaring with laughter, and maybe even a sing-song if you're lucky. Just remember, the Irish like to tell a good story, so be prepared for some tall tales. And listen, if someone offers you a pint of plain, they're talking about Guinness. Don't ask me why, they just are. Go with it. It's all part of the experience. Oh, and one last tip. Don't be afraid to buy around. It's the Irish way, and trust me, the karma will come back to you tenfold. You might even get a free song out of it. But most importantly, relax, enjoy the banter, and soak up the unique atmosphere of a real Irish pub. You won't regret it. Now, I know what you're thinking. Driving in Ireland? How hard can it be? Well, let me tell you, those country roads can be a bit of a shock to the system, especially if you're used to driving on the right-hand side. And no, I'm not just talking about the narrow lanes, the winding turns, and the occasional sheep causing a traffic jam. I'm talking about the fact that, yes, they drive on the left-hand side of the road. I know, it seems completely bonkers to them too. But there you have it. Just remember, keep left. And for the love of all that is holy, take it slow, especially on those country roads. And whatever you do, don't rely on your GPS alone. Those things have a mind of their own sometimes, and you might just end up driving into the Atlantic if you're not careful. Instead, ask a local for directions. We might exaggerate a little, but we're always happy to help a lost soul find their way. Just be prepared for a few detours and maybe a quick history lesson along the way. Let's talk about the weather, shall we? Now, Ireland is famous for its lush green landscape, and do you know why it's so green? Because it rains. A lot. Don't get me wrong, they get sunshine too, sometimes even in the same day as a hailstorm. But if you're coming to Ireland, you need to be prepared for all eventualities. That means packing layers, my friends, lots of layers, and a raincoat, a good raincoat, and an umbrella, and maybe a spare pair of shoes just in case you get caught in a downpour. But honestly, don't let a little rain dampen your spirits. The Irish weather is all part of the charm, and it certainly makes for some good stories. Plus, there's nothing quite like cozying up by a roaring fire in a traditional pub with a pint of Guinness in hand after a bracing walk in the rain. It's practically a national pastime. So pack for all seasons, embrace the unpredictable, and remember, there's no such thing as bad weather in Ireland, just the wrong clothes. Chapter 4. Don't just visit Dublin. Now, Dublin is a fantastic city, don't get me wrong. It's full of history, culture, and crack, and you should definitely spend some time exploring it. But, and I can't stress this enough, don't make the mistake of thinking Dublin is Ireland. Because just beyond the pale, as we say, lies a whole other world waiting to be discovered. From the rugged beauty of the wild Atlantic Way to the rolling hills of the Connemara, Ireland's countryside is simply breathtaking. So rent a car, hop on a train, or even hire a bike, and go get lost in the Emerald Isle. Explore ancient castles, wander through charming villages, and meet the friendly locals who make this country so special. Trust me, you won't regret venturing off the beaten track. You might even find yourself extending your trip, just to see it all. Chapter 5. Don't misunderstand Irish slang. Now, the Irish have a unique way with words, and their slang can be a bit confusing at times, even for the English. So, to help you navigate the linguistic labyrinth, here's a quick crash course in Irish slang. Crack, this is the lifeblood of Ireland. It means fun, entertainment, good times. If someone asks you, what's the crack? They're basically asking what's going on. Grand, don't be fooled by its simplicity. Grand can mean anything from okay to fantastic. It's all in the tone of voice. Giving out, this doesn't mean giving something away. It means telling someone off, usually in a very loud and animated way. The jacks, no, this isn't a place to play cards. It's the toilet. This means small, but it's often used as a term of endearment. So a wee cup of tea is just a small cup of tea, but a wee dog is a cute dog. And lastly, if someone calls you a feckin' Egypt, don't take it personally. It's a term of endearment, probably. Chapter 6. Don't ignore historical sites. Ireland is an ancient land, steeped in history and mythology. From prehistoric stone circles to medieval castles, you'll find remnants of the past around every corner. Don't just walk past these incredible sites. Take the time to explore them, learn their stories, and imagine the lives of the people who walked those paths before you. Visit the imposing Rock of Cashel, shrouded in legends and lore. Stand on the edge of the cliffs of Moher and feel the wind whip through your hair. Walk among the ancient stones of Newgrange and marvel at the ingenuity of their ancestors. These sites are more than just tourist attractions. They are tangible links to Ireland's rich and often turbulent past. They offer a glimpse into the soul of this island and its people. So embrace the history, immerse yourself in the stories, and let your imagination run wild. Chapter 7. Now, this should go without saying, but you'd be surprised. When you're visiting historical and religious sites in Ireland, it's important to remember that these places hold deep significance for many people. So, be respectful, dress appropriately, keep your voice down, and avoid any behavior that might be considered offensive or disrespectful. Don't climb on ancient ruins, no matter how good a photo opportunity it might seem. Don't interrupt religious services or ceremonies. And please, for the love of all that is holy, don't carve your name into anything. Remember, you are a visitor in someone else's sacred space. Treat it with the respect it deserves. Chapter 8. Now let's talk about something very important: the pace of life in Ireland. Irish are known for our laid-back attitude, and that extends to their customer service. So don't expect things to happen in a hurry, especially outside the major cities. Things move a little slower here, and that's okay. Embrace it. Don't get flustered if your food takes a little longer than expected, or if the shop assistant seems more interested in chatting to the person in front of you than taking your order. It's not rudeness, it's just the Irish way. Irish like to take their time, savor the moment, and enjoy the crack. So relax, be patient, and remember, you're on holiday. There's no need to rush. Chapter 9. Now, while renting a car can be a great way to explore the Irish countryside, don't overlook the joys of public transport. Ireland has a surprisingly good network of buses and trains that can take you to all the major cities and towns, and even some of the more remote areas. And let's be honest, who wants to be stuck behind the wheel when you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the scenery? Plus, it's a great way to meet the locals and maybe even pick up some Irish slang along the way. So, grab a bus timetable, hop on a train, and let someone else do the driving for a change. You might be surprised at where you end up. Chapter 10. Now listen up, because this is important. No trip to Ireland is complete without experiencing the local cuisine. And no, I'm not talking about leprechaun stew or shamrock shakes. Irish food is hearty, comforting, and full of flavor. Think slow-cooked stews, fresh seafood, and homemade bread. Start your day with a full Irish breakfast. It's not for the faint-hearted, but it will definitely set you up for a day of exploring. For lunch, try a traditional Irish stew or a hearty bowl of seafood chowder. And for dinner, you can't go wrong with a classic fish and chips or a plate of Irish stew. And don't forget to wash it all down with a pint of Guinness or a cup of Irish tea. It's the perfect way to end a day in the Emerald Isle. Outro. So there you have it. 10 things not to do in Ireland if you want to truly experience the magic of this incredible country. Remember, embrace the unexpected, be respectful of the local culture, and most importantly, have fun. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel for more travel tips and adventures, and leave a comment below with your own Ireland travel questions or stories.